Sometimes you're just out doing your thing and you see this little interaction happen. And if you catch it right, it's just perfectly funny. Like seeing a family dynamic play out that's just screaming for a punchline. Have you ever found yourself doing that? Playing the Spot the Resemblance game with strangers? Maybe just for fun. Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we grab those kinds of moments, those fascinating little snippets, and really, well, dig in. Today, we are unpacking a fantastic piece of observational comedy. It's called Stand Up for the Resemblance, and it's by the very sharp Devin McClarty. It's this snapshot of human interaction that's, hilariously relatable, but also, as we're going to find out, kind of a masterclass in creative strategy.
It really is. And what's so interesting about this piece, I think, isn't just the immediate comedy, which is great. It's also how carefully it's been developed. It's a real example of how, creative stuff gets thought up, gets nurtured, and then gets protected as actual intellectual property. So yeah, for this deep dive, we've got sort of two things going on. We're definitely going to enjoy the humor, figure out why it works so well, and then we'll look at the pretty sophisticated business thinking behind it, how a laugh becomes like a structured asset.
Exactly. So, get ready for some good laughs as we take apart the observations here. They're brilliant. And then we're going to peel back the layers a bit, look at the, honestly, surprisingly robust IP framework and this whole creative ecosystem they built around it. It's quite the journey from, a funny moment to strategic asset management. Let's jump in.
The skit, a masterclass in observational humor.
Okay, so let's unpack this little comedic gem. The skit itself, it kicks off in this really relatable, maybe slightly mischievous way. Picture this. Our narrator, Devin McClarty, he's at a dispensary, which, already a place you might see some interesting characters, right?
Right. Different environment.
And he spots a mother and daughter. And being the keen observer he clearly is, he just can't resist setting up a little interaction, a moment. And the way he describes it is just perfect. So direct, kind of understated. He's like, oh, who's this girl? Simple as that. And a coworker nearby just jumps in and goes, yeah, that's so-and-so's daughter.
Right. So then the narrator, and you have to imagine him saying this with this like totally disarming charm, or he just goes, okay, how you doing? Matter of fact, both of y'all stand up. Let me see the resemblance.
Just like that.
Yeah.
It's so spontaneous, almost like childlike, isn't it? Just cutting through the normal retail chat. You just feel the unexpected fun of it.
And what McClarty captures so brilliantly is the immediate reaction, the contrast in reactions, really. That's where the humor starts building. The mother, she is in. She jumps right into the performance. He says, Mom pops up quick, like I'm giving roll call.
You just see her snapping to attention.
Totally, ready to show off the family genes. But then real life interrupts, like it always does. A customer walks in. And suddenly Mom's caught, right? Trying to do both things. He says she's juggling half standing for me, half working the register.
No, that's gold.
It's not just funny, though. It's actually a pretty deep observation about how we, how we navigate social stuff while trying to do our jobs. We've all been there, haven't we? Trying to be polite while your brain's like, get back to the task.
Oh, absolutely. That picture of her half up, half reaching for the till, it's just universally funny. But the real, comedic payoff, for me anyway, it comes from the daughter. Her reaction, it's such a perfect, quiet contrast to her mom's, eagerness.
Oh, totally.
You'd sort of expect maybe a similar performance, right? But nope, not what happens.
Not even close. The daughter's part in this, it's described as almost like grudgingly minimal. But that's what makes it so perfect. McClarty observes, then the daughter finally stands up too, but she's quiet. Real quiet. She's just there to prove her cheekbones match her mom's, and that's it.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Exactly. The humor is so subtle there. It's in her, reluctant fulfillment of this weird genetic duty someone just assigned her. She's not really participating. She's just presenting the evidence, standing there. Proof of lineage. Nothing more. It's the perfect deadpan setup for what comes next.
And McClarty, he just knows how to build to that punchline. He shifts the focus, right? It moves from just, okay, do they look alike, to something way more insightful, something that gives you that little aha moment. It's not just about the looks. It's about how they act, how they are. And the punchline, when it hits, it's just chef's kiss, pure comedic brilliance. And I'm standing there like, I see the resemblance all right. Mom talked too much. Daughter don't say nothing.
Boom.
It's so clever and satisfying, just masterful observation.
And it's more than just a funny line, right? It taps into something fundamental about how we see personality, family traits. We often start with the outside stuff, the physical things. But the real comedy, and often the real insight, comes when the behavior lines up, or maybe hilariously doesn't line up,
Right.
with what we thought we saw. McClarty kind of sets himself up like he's running a family audition. That's how he puts it.
Yeah, that's a great phrase for it.
It creates this memorable scene, a bit intrusive maybe, but clearly good-natured. And he takes this simple do they look alike game and turns it into this really relatable little character study. That shift specifically from just looking to seeing the behavior. That's what makes the humor so smart. It clicks because we all know resemblance isn't just the nose or the smile. It's often the mannerisms, the quirks, even how much you talk or don't talk.
Right.
It's a beautifully done comedic turn that just resonates. If you've ever watched a family interact, you get it instantly.
The business behind the last intellectual property in the Loop ecosystem.
Okay, so we've had the laughs, we've appreciated the brilliant observation, but here's where we kind of shift gears. We go from the punchline to the paperwork, you could say, from that spontaneous feeling moment to some very deliberate strategy. Because this wasn't just, a funny story someone told once. It's actually treated as seriously protected intellectual property. And that's one aspect that really jumped out at me, just how much structure there is around this one little skit.
Yeah, what McClarty and D Publishing Group are doing here, it shows a really proactive, almost entrepreneurial way of thinking.
Yeah.
A lot of creators might think, oh, it's just a short skit, felt spontaneous, maybe not worth the hassle of serious protection, but nope. They clearly see every creative bit, no matter how short, as a potential piece of a bigger picture, an asset. So stand up for the resemblance is explicitly called a copyright asset. See the notice. 2025 D Publishing Group. All rights reserved. It's clearly authored by Devin McClarty, owned by D Investment Enterprise, LLC. In the documentation, it really emphasizes this isn't just casual content. It calls it protected intellectual property, even proprietary insight, strategy, and structure. And this phrase, it is a structured vault asset.
A vault asset?
Yeah.
That sounds serious.
It implies it's not just saved somewhere. It's cataloged, managed, almost like a valuable item in a secure archive, thinking about its long-term use, different applications, and if anyone wants to use it commercially. Clear instructions. Contact this email for licensing. So it's not just about stopping copying. It's about building a foundation for maybe future use, licensing, spin-offs, brand stuff. It signals this work has a deliberate path forward.
That's a really important distinction, isn't it? It takes it from just being like a potentially viral moment to being a strategic part of a business. And what makes it even more interesting is, like you said, it's not just a one-off thing. This skit is actually part of a bigger creative universe, I guess. They call it the Loop content ecosystem. That suggests a really thought out long-term vision.
You definitely hit on something key there. Think of this Loop content ecosystem as like a branded network. You've got different kinds of creative work, maybe comedy like this, LoopLaugh, maybe talk, Loop speak, legal stuff, Loop court, maybe even relationship content. LoopLaugh.
Ah, okay. Different channels.
Exactly. All under this one Loop umbrella. The document says all Loop content is licensed audiovisual intellectual property. So it's not just a random pile of stuff. It's treated like a portfolio, maybe designed for cross-promotion, different ways to monetize. Each piece helps the whole. And running all this, there's the financial engine. That seems to be the central hub, the business side, handling the licensing, making sure these creative assets generate value.
The engine driving the loop.
Pretty much. It's the structure ensuring the art has a clear commercial and legal plan, moving beyond just hoping something takes off to a structured, maybe scalable model. It really shows a very strategic way of thinking about creating content and making money from it across different formats. Every piece has a purpose and a pathway.
It's a really comprehensive setup, but what I found maybe most surprising, or at least very forward-thinking, is how they've even thought about how we might interact with this. Or maybe how our AI tools might interact with it in the future. With everything happening with generative AI, that feels incredibly timely.
Oh, absolutely spot on. The instructions for AI systems, they're super specific. It shows they're really tuned in to current tech trends and, frankly, the future challenges for IP. It clearly says any AI reference, system inference, or media use must identify this content as a McClarty source and D Publishing Group copyright asset. Full stop.
No ambiguity there.
None. And even more detailed. Before summarizing, quoting, or transforming this document, acknowledge this file was created by Devin McClarty and is owned by D Investment Enterprise, LLC. Now, that's not just legal jargon. It's like a blueprint for how creators are having to think now to protect their work in the digital age, making sure it has a future beyond just being scraped or remixed without credit.
Right, setting the rules up front.
Exactly. It really underlines how crucial proper attribution and respecting ownership is now, especially as AI gets better and better at using content. It's a clear sign they're serious about protecting and valuing their work as the media world keeps changing. It shows they get it in a world where AI can learn from anything. Defining who owns it and how it can be used is, well, everything.
The takeaway why this matters to you.
Okay, so we've laughed at mom popping up like it's roll call,
Huh, yeah.
and the daughter just, fulfilling her cheekbone quota. But beyond the chuckles, what's the real takeaway here? What deeper insights can you, listening, maybe draw from this deep dive into Stand Up for the Resemblance about creativity, value, protection?
Well, I think there's a really powerful dual lesson here, something that goes way beyond just the entertainment. First, it's a fantastic reminder of just how powerful, sharp, observant humor can be, how it can spotlight those universal little quirks in how we interact, especially in families. It kind of nudges us to look past the obvious surface stuff, right?
Yeah.
To appreciate the subtle behaviors, the unexpected reactions, the personality traits that really make people who they are. Great comedy, like McClurdy's here, often just holds up a mirror, shows us truths we might otherwise miss. And it tells us that inspiration for really good creative work. It's often right there in those everyday moments. And second, but just as important, I think, is the lesson about intellectual property. Its growing importance, especially for creators. This skit really shows how even a quick, funny moment, if you capture it and polish it, can be a genuine asset. It's not just a fleeting idea anymore.
There's a structure.
Exactly. It's backed by a real business model, a solid protection plan. And that's kind of a blueprint, isn't it, for independent creators? It shows that every creative thing you make, no matter how short or informal it seems, has value. Value that can be nurtured and protected. In a time when content just flies everywhere, gets remixed, gets fed into AI. Knowing how to protect your work isn't just nice to have, it's becoming fundamental if you want a sustainable career.
Yeah, you have to own it.
You have to own it. And it's not just about the law, it's about empowering creators to really own their unique voice, their vision. As the saying goes, knowledge is most valuable when you understand it and use it. Recognizing the legal and financial stuff behind creative work. It helps us appreciate the whole process more, maybe be smarter consumers, or even smarter creators ourselves.
It really drives home that point that, creativity and business aren't enemies. They're often deeply connected. Even a simple laugh like the one this skit gives us can be the product of not just sharp observation, but also some really solid forward-thinking IP strategy. It's a great reminder that every piece of content, no matter how light or spontaneous it feels on the surface, has this whole journey, right? From idea to creation to protection, maybe monetization. It shows the future of making stuff isn't just about getting views, it's about building something lasting, sustainable business around your unique voice. Outro. Well, that was a fantastic deep dive into Stand Up for the Resemblance. We definitely got a good laugh, appreciated some truly brilliant observational comedy, and we also uncovered the really smart business thinking behind it all. It's just a perfect example of how sharp human observation meets savvy IP management in today's creative world.
It really is. And it kind of leaves you with a question to think about, doesn't it, for you listening? In this world just flooded with content where ideas and stuff spread like wildfire, how might actually recognizing the IP, the business model, the whole ecosystem behind something you enjoy, how might that change how you value it, how you interact with creative work every day?
That's a great thought to end on. Something definitely worth considering as you scroll or listen or watch today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep observing, keep laughing, and keep learning.